So I'm delighted to be joined by Barry Maguire, formerly of Utrecht and Limerick City, among other clubs. Celtic fans might remember Barry from his cracking goal for Utrecht against Celtic in the Europa League in 2010. And many Ireland fans will remember Barry very nearly received a call-up for Ireland under Giovanni Trapattoni. So, Barry, you're currently playing for, is it GVVV?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
What's the full name? Because I don't even want to attempt it.
I don't think if I'm going to say it in Dutch, that it's going to make any much more sense. But it's basically the VVV stands for a football association or club in the Netherlands. It's a voetbalvereniging. So, and then the G is for Gelderse. So that's more of like the province where it's in.
That's the kind of area and stuff. Yeah, I wasn't even going to try and pronounce it because I'd butcher it. But that you're in the Dutch third tier now, Barry, aren't you?
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Because the last time we spoke, Barry, this was in the height of COVID. And you were in Singapore, so you've been to quite a few countries. You've had quite a globe-trotting career, which is fantastic. And it feels like a long time ago, but you were actually the first ever guest on the Green Machine. So you have that distinction, which is
yeah.
Yeah. It seems like a long time ago now, but geez, things were really bad then, weren't they? Like things were really bad.
It didn't seem like that. I think I remember that our conversation was so positive, but now looking back at it, it was in the height of COVID. Well, things were not as positive as we made it seem that way, or when you guys started at least with it. So different times.
Yeah, it was crazy. I think it was the summer, so really things had just gotten bad. And I know you were in Singapore and you're obviously playing over there. And I remember you said like I think you were visiting orphanages at the time, and you were doing a bit of charity work there, which was fantastic. Now, Barry, you do have the distinct, I suppose, pleasure of representing Ireland and the Netherlands at underage level. So you're coming at things from a very, very unique angle, and you are going to help us preview the Ireland versus Netherlands game on Sunday. So we're going to get a bit of inside scoop from yourself, and we're looking forward to it. But before we get into it, Barry, I think there might be a lot of younger listeners. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of when you came close to a senior call-up for Ireland. But do you want to talk us through how that, I suppose, representing Ireland underage, then switching to the Netherlands, and then your encounter with Giovanni Trapattoni that saw you very close to receiving a senior call-up?
Yeah. For the start, it was, born and raised in the Netherlands. So, I always lived here. Then through family members, of course, I came in contact with the Irish Football Association when I was like 14, 15. Came over for a game there, but actually after that, I didn't really hear anything back anymore for any call-ups from that part. Then I made my debut professional football here when I was 16. So got the call-up for the national team under 18. And then at the same time, we had to play against the Irish under 18s. And then suddenly they noticed again, of course, that I was available for Ireland as well. But at that time, as you may know, as soon as you make a switch for the Dutch or the national team, you can could only make it once. And at that time, especially with the traveling, it was for me easier to just stay in the Netherlands. So I played for the under 18, 19, and 21 team. Still playing for the Netherlands, and then of course we played against Celtic in the Europa League, what made it even more visible in Ireland. And then got a call from the Irish Football Association, and flew over to Ireland to meet Trapattoni there with the Ireland against Russia game, what it was then.
Yeah, it wasn't a good result for us that night, Barry, wasn't it? 3-2, I think, wasn't it? But you played in Anfield as well, didn't you? And I think I remember at the time, certainly in the media and commentary and stuff, a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, there's a Dutch guy called Maguire. I wonder if he's Irish." And of course, like then it kind of transpired that you had played a bit for us. So you would have played with some pretty decent players in the Dutch underage system, wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, I think that the most common names are like a Wijnaldum, who everybody he played for Liverpool. So I think, but there were a couple of very good names that I played in the Dutch national teams with the under 19s, 20 and 21s. Obviously, I think there's always good young Dutch players coming through. And we had a Daley Blind, who else played in England there. The goalkeeper Tim Krul, Leroy Fair, Ferdinand Anita. I can name a couple more that I was in the team with in those stages.
Yeah, you're in pretty good company. And I suppose just to touch on your club career again, you did end up in the League of Ireland with Limerick. Talk us through that experience for you, because I suppose at that stage, a lot of people were aware about the past with the Ireland links and that kind of thing. But it must have been interesting playing in the League of Ireland. Very, very different to the Dutch league, I suppose.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely a different experience. The reason why I came over or why I did that was because I mean, obviously I played at the Netherlands at the highest level. Was supposed to go to the MLS, but needed a 6 months layover because the leagues are different. So I went to Norway for that 6 months. Unfortunately, I got injured there pretty bad. I got a double prolapse in my back. It's not an injury that is very common under football players or in general with people.
Doesn't sound nice, Barry. Doesn't sound nice at all.
No, yeah, no. So yeah, basically that meant that I lost like 75% of my power in my left leg. Doctors didn't really know what was gonna or what the trajectory of the recovery was gonna be. So that didn't go through. Unfortunately, didn't play for like 2.5 years after that. The recovery took a long time. In the end, luckily enough, I could play again. The perspective on that was a little bit different in the sense of like the clubs at the higher stage here in the Netherlands didn't really know what was going on. Obviously, with my background in Ireland, I would love to live there or at least come over for a year and see how everything was. And then everything fell into place, and I got the opportunity at Limerick to come over and play there. So that was a very nice opportunity to have both sides fulfilled.
Absolutely. Was Connor Clifford there at the same time?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember people saying at the time, they were like, this, in an alternative universe, this could have been Ireland's midfield duo, Barry Maguire and Connor Clifford, because obviously Connor had done so well at Chelsea and started playing in the League of Ireland. So I remember people looking at that Limerick team thinking, this, in an alternative universe, this is Ireland's midfield, So nearly, but sadly wasn't to be. Actually, you never know, Barry. We're fairly short in midfielders at the moment. You might get a call up before Sunday. So let's talk a little bit about the Netherlands, because naturally you can look at it from both perspectives, and there are, I mean, Daily Blind, there's a couple of ex-teammates of yours actually in the squad. So if we go through their form, I mean, the World Cup was a bit of a disappointment. I mean, unbeaten essentially, going out on penalties to the eventual winners, Argentina. Yeah. But since the turn of the calendar year, Barry, things haven't been fantastic. I mean, against very, very good opposition, but 3 losses in 4 games, and that solitary win against Gibraltar. So talk us through the form of the Netherlands at the moment and Ronald Koeman's team.
Yeah, obviously, we got a change of head coach, of course, on that part. The Netherlands team, the expectations are always very, very high. A couple great if you look at the whole squad, they got great players, but they're always basically looking for the perfect lineup. At some positions, they got multiple players that can play at that position, and then other players are better suited for a 4-3-3 or a 3-5-2 at the club. They have players that play different positions or in a different system. And then when they come to the Netherlands, it always seems that they're looking for the right fit and see how how they play together. And especially in the last games, like you already said, it seems even more that they're looking for the right system and the right fit of players, how they fit into each other. And unfortunately, that hasn't been going that well.
Yeah, I mean, the form is a bit surprising. I mean, when you guys played, well, when I say you guys, I suppose you're both of us really. You're Ireland and the Netherlands, but the first game against the French, I mean, an absolute battering, and this is just a couple of days before the French played us, so we were really bricking it, to be honest, So I mean, disappointing loss, but again, the Nations League games, a loss to Croatia, a loss to Italy as well, so not coming into it with amazing form. The Greeks, obviously, by the time this episode does go out, you guys would have played the Greeks by now. But let's have a little look at some of the players as well. A lot of uncapped players in this squad, isn't there? Like it's probably one of the younger squads, the likes of Ian Maitson, with Chelsea, Mickey van de Veen, I think, with Spurs as well. So a young enough squad from Ronald Koeman.
I think that's most of the times one of the things that you see in the Netherlands, in the first division as well, but by bigger clubs, but also the Dutch national team, is they like to give a lot of young players, or a lot, I mean, more than other countries, I think, young players the chance who do well at their club teams. I think that's one of the things that everybody likes about the Netherlands, the football, the young players that come up, the talents that get the chance to play first team or national team football. I mean, those players, like you mentioned just now, they are doing very well at the teams. They made a nice transfer there, as Van de Ven did at Spurs, of course. On the other hand, it's difficult for a national team to build up like a team. I think it's very important at the highest level too that you have a group of players that's plays together for a longer time in the same formation, even at the national team, what makes it easier to come back to the national team and then play together. So it's good things and bad things, or bad, not bad, but more difficult for the Netherlands to do that. But like I said, Van de Ven is also like a center back. We got a couple good ones of that too. So it's like good for them to experience this level too, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, playing with the likes of Virgil van Dijk is certainly a massive experience for them. So in terms of the key players, Barry, I mean, most of the listeners listening will be aware of most of the Dutch players. But in terms of key players, obviously Virgil van Dijk, as I mentioned, Frankie de Jong. You've got Cody Gakpo as well, with Liverpool doing excellently well. Who are the standout men for you at the moment in that Dutch team?
For me, obviously, I'm a midfielder myself, so I look at how the midfield normally is doing or who is playing there. Seems a little bit of a balancing thing most of the times already for the last couple of years. Obviously, we got Frankie de Jong who's playing there. I mean, amazing player there, but it's always if there's discussions here in the Netherlands who should play next to him on the midfield, because we got a lot of good midfielders who can play on the midfield. But the balancing thing for Frankie de Jong is always the most important, like who is going to stand next to him to do more of the dirty job. And that's seems something that we haven't figured out quite yet, and to see how we fill that up. And that makes it more difficult if you got so many players who can play on the midfield or also in the back if you want to play with 5 or 4 men's defense.
Yeah, you probably could have done a job there beside him, doing the dirty work. Never too late, Barry. Xavi Simons as well. I mean, he's looking unbelievable, isn't he? A very, very talented guy. I mean, I've just seen a little bit of him in the Champions League. He's with PSV now, I think.
No, he's at Red Bull Leipzig.
Oh, he's with Leipzig now, so he's gone over. Yeah, well, I'm trying to think. Oh, he was with PSV last season, wasn't he? Because I remember watching him watching him in the Champions League, and he's just absolutely electric. Unbelievable player. How excited are you guys about him? Because he's a serious talent.
Oh yeah, absolutely amazing in a sense that I think he did very well by going, or he made the transfer then back to PSG, but then went on loan to Red Bull Leipzig. He's doing absolutely amazing now. The first couple games there, scoring goals. So we are very excited to see him in the national team and hopefully see him starting and being linking up front there with a Gakpo, and then especially with the Frankie de Jong behind it. And hopefully that is a player that we can be in the likes of not the same player, but like one of the attacking players like a Van Persie or a Robert. Like we always used to have those amazing attacking players who can make a difference and can break a game open. We are very excited to hopefully see more of him the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's terrifying, the prospects of facing him, because as I said, when I watched him when he was with PSV last season, I can't remember what game it was in the Champions League. He scored a couple of goals anyway. And I just remember thinking, this guy's terrifying. I think it's interesting with the Irish team at the moment, Barry, because so many of the lads who came through the Irish youth system in the last 10 years would have been under a lot of Dutch influence, because Wim Koevermans, I suppose he would have been. Will Wim Koevermans have been around when I suppose you were probably approached to play, and then Ruud Doctor as well. He's only kind of left the FAI in recent years, I suppose. So there's been a lot of Dutch influence within the FAI, and of course Vera Pauw, who sadly lost her job a couple of weeks ago as the women national team manager. So there's always been there's been Dutch links, and I suppose a lot of the players have probably been encouraged to play a Dutch way. So I wonder if that's an advantage or not. But historically as well, Barry, I mean, the Dutch have always been kind of our bogey team. Euro 88, they knocked us out. USA 94, Euro 96. We did get a revenge in 2001. And that,
I remember.
Yeah. Who were you up for that day, Barry? Who were you up for that day?
That was always a question I get, and it's always a difficult question to answer, of course. I mean, born and raised in the Netherlands, of course, it's easier to say the Netherlands in that part. But the patriotism of the Irish people is always much stronger, I think, than the people from the Netherlands. And especially supporting football, sporting sports teams, doesn't matter really what sport it is. The Irish always support their own in that sense. And I think I got more of that from the Irish part, like my enthusiasm of supporting any Irish team or people from that. So it's always a very difficult question to answer that straight.
Very diplomatic there, Barry. Very diplomatic.
It sounds diplomatic, but it obviously, I know it really is. my dad is from Ireland, he's from Dublin, so it's really divided in half, and I can understand that it's difficult to understand for people on that part. But yeah, it really is. I mean, I look at a lot of Irish sports or teams or players playing abroad, or even other sports. I always look out for that too. So that's different.
That's what I like to hear, Barry. That's what we like to hear. So, and even in recent times, it's interesting as well because we have so many players now going over to play in the Netherlands. I know Dan Crowley now he's gone into League Two. He's probably not getting an Ireland call up anytime soon, but he was with Willem, Troy Parrott's after going off to Excelsior, as well, and Anselmo Garcia McNulty, he's gone to Zwolle.
Zwolle,
yeah. So he's gone there. And then I suppose the one that a lot of people associate with is, I know Liam Kelly as well went to Feyenoord a few years ago. Again, that didn't work out. But the one a lot of people associate, I suppose, Ireland with Dutch football is David Connolly. But you have good memories of David Connolly playing for Feyenoord.
I definitely remember that. I would say it's not like that strong on my view anymore how he did and what he was doing, but of course you look at the Irish people who's coming over, and it's the funniest thing that you are not funny, but that you mentioned that, because when I was in Ireland, it actually looked at me, there's a lot of teams that play 4-3-3 in a very attacking style. They want to build up from the back, and I go like, everybody, especially in the Netherlands, but also looks at the League of Ireland as more of a sort like English football, kicking the ball long, and then especially like the League One and the League Two, like that. But I definitely did not have that view when I was over in Ireland for that season. I really thought that there was a lot of players, like you already mentioned, that had the Dutch style in it and wanted to play that way. And I was actually hoping there that there was gonna come more Irish young players to the Netherlands, because I think that is actually a really good fit. That the Irish players, young players, instead of going to England, should come to the Netherlands, not because I'm living here, but the way of they play. If you see a lot of teams playing like a 4-3-3 style with the wingers, but also with the midfielders there, I think that actually could be a really good fit. So I'm waiting on now hopefully the new players now coming to the Netherlands doing very well, so that more Irish players find their way over to the Netherlands.
Well, I think with Brexit as well, you know, so many players are going to different countries. A lot of players going to France. With Jake O'Brien, who was with Cork City and Crystal Palace, he's gone over there, and a couple of other young players gone over to France. And I suppose as well, like, it's worth noting that Chidozie Ogbene, he probably would have been with Limerick just before you joined, Barry.
Yeah,
I think, So I mean, like, he developed quite well there before. I think he went to Brentford, and obviously now he's with Luton. So just an interesting observation, and it would be great to see more Irish players going to more continental leagues. And as you said, the Netherlands, because there's been so much Dutch influence within the FAI in the last few years, that there will be good overlaps. I suppose, Barry, before we let you go, we need to get your score prediction for Sunday. What do you reckon is going to happen in Dublin?
I wanted to say, like, if you look at the squads, the Netherlands should win just based on the players that they have. But statistically, like you already said, the Irish is always a difficult team for the Netherlands to beat. So I think I'm going for a 1-1.
A 1-1.
Yeah.
Diplomatic again. You have
but statistically,
which is good.
It could be that the Irish, I don't think the Netherlands never played an easy game against Ireland. But another one, if you look at the squads with the Netherlands team, the quality that they have should be really good. So I think it's a very realistic answer that I'm giving right now.
Yeah, no, I think so. Absolutely, I agree. I'm not going to ask. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you who you're supporting, though.
Nah, you don't need to do that. But what do you think that score is going to be?
I actually think we're going to get a point. I think it'll be 1-1 to
you.
Yeah.
I was doing pretty good with the prediction too. Just make it sound all like diplomatic answers, but you're thinking the same thing. So
I just have a feeling that I don't know. I think Stephen Kenny is desperate. He's desperate for a result. I mean, at time of recording, we won't have the French result, but I don't see us getting anything in Paris. And again, by the time this comes out, I could be wrong, but I don't see us getting anything in Paris. And I think Stephen Kenny will be desperate for a result. And just given the Netherlands, their form, I know it's against much stronger opposition than us, but I just think on the balance of things, I think 1-1, Barry. I'll have to agree with you. With you.
That's good. That's good.
Super. But look, Barry, as always, great to have you on the show. Our first ever guest on the Green Machine. So it's lovely to have you back after a few years. And no doubt we'll have you back very, very soon. But it was great to hear from you, and enjoy the game on Sunday.
Thanks for having me again. And enjoy the game on Sunday too.